Hi everyone, welcome back to the Anna Marie YouTube channel. I'm so glad that you guys are here with me once again. Just the energy and the love is always everything. Today's topic that we're talking about is depression. Overcoming depression. We can't overcome something we don't understand or we don't recognize. So that's what we're going to get into. We're going to get into what depression really is. What does it look like? Where does it come from? And how we can overcome it. How we can kill that thing. All right, so I'm glad that you guys are here with me. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to Anna Marie YouTube channel. Like the videos, comment. I love to know what you guys have to say, and I really hope that you enjoy. So thank you for your time and your love, and enjoy. We are talking about depression this morning. I have spoken about this before, but I have never recorded it for YouTube. So, this is going to be good for us. The topic that it is overcoming depression. Overcome depression. Okay. Whew, depression, I had to take a breath right there. Meekness, hey love, welcome forward. I had to take a breath right there because depression is something real, it's something serious. It's something serious and it's nothing to play with, because in a blink of an eye, all that you stood for, everything that you believed, how you felt about yourself, the things that you're doing can disappear. In a blink of an eye, and that's what depression does. And I'm saying this because I'm speaking by experience, you know. So let's talk about it. All right. So the first thing is, let's recognize if it's something that we're dealing with today, you know. Depression. Are you feeling like your normal self? What has you not feeling like your normal self? What has you not feeling whole? And that's where we're going to start. Is there something, do you feel like in your life something has changed, something has shifted? Do you feel like there's something else that is going on? There has been a change in how you normally feel. You don't feel like that anymore. The next thing, hey Frank, the next thing that we're going to ask ourselves is, what happened to you? Because there's always a cause and effect. What has altered the norm? Change came because something happened. And whether we want to admit it or not, that's the truth. The way that depression can sneak in because something and somewhere something has changed. And like I said, it could be change that we recognize and it could be change that we don't. So immediately, because I have dealt with depression before, and I know, I won't say I know what it looks like, but I know what the feeling feels like. Oh, that right there. We can't always recognize depression because it's sneaky. It comes in different forms and different things that we deal with. Hey, MIA. Hey, love. Oh, welcome forward. Hi, Kitty Great Rising. Yay. It comes in different forms, you know, so we don't always recognize it because depression has different masks, but we can recognize the feeling. That part, we can recognize the feeling to say, oh, this is not how I normally feel. What's going on? I'm not feeling completely whole right now. Thank you, King. Carolina, hey love. I'm not feeling completely whole right now. There's other things going on. 2392. Hey love. There's other things that are going on with me. What is happening? So the question is, where is the cause and effect? And a lot of times, I spoke about this before, is I didn't recognize I was in depression until 4 years later. 3 to 4 years later, because I was in depression for a year and a half, 2 years. And then I would say I was in depression for a year and a half. And then it wasn't until 2.5 years later that I recognized that I was. So that's deep. Because I didn't recognize it. I didn't, the image, how it came in, I didn't see it. The mask, I believed the mask. All right. That's what we're going to say. I didn't recognize depression because I believed the mask that it came in with. Okay. So the first thing we got to feel is what is now, Virgo, hey love, what is changing? What is changing the norm? What is changing how I feel? When you start feeling different, when things start getting out of the norm, we got to recognize, why do I feel this way? Ginger Way! Virgo, Ginger Way. Welcome forward, loves. Dre, hey love. Why am I feeling like this? When we're in tune with ourselves and we're in love with ourselves and we have that self-love on the inside, we always are doing a self-evaluation. A self-evaluation is helping us to understand our feelings, cultivate our emotions and things like that, to help us to grow into who we know we're supposed to be. I know I'm supposed to be greater than I am today. You know, I'm going to be better than I was yesterday. We know these things, so we got to reevaluate some things. So if I start feeling, hey God, Nadeem, hey love, if I start feeling a different way than normal, I start questioning some things. Maybe it's just because I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Maybe it's because I'm hungry. Why you got an attitude, Candy? I don't know. Let me see. Oh, I didn't eat today. You see, when we evaluate what we're doing, but when I come to a place to start altering things that I stand for, that's what I'm talking about, depression. When we start drastically changing things in our lives and we don't know why. Well, sometimes we don't know why and sometimes we do. The things that we're affected by, the cause and effect, was so hard for us that we see this hurt me. Come on, Chucker. We see this hurt me, and this is why I feel out of sorts. This is why I don't feel like I normally feel, because I just got out of a relationship and it hurts me because I don't have what I once had. Okay? Who am I talking to? That's what I'm talking about. So there is depression that we can recognize because of the cause. We understand what the cause is. Lettuce, tomato, head love. And then there's depression that comes in sneaky. Come on, Candace. So the first thing we need to do is, what happened to you? Huh. That's what I'm asking you, King and Queens. What happened to you? Was it a bad relationship? What happened to you? Have you been living a life that you've been devaluing yourself, so you're taking everything that you do not deserve, dealing with those effects? Is that what's happening to you? How? Yes. Let me see, love. I don't even know how I used to normally feel. That's how long I've been in depression. Pointing fingers, that's real. Because that's how it happened to me, you know. I've been thinking hard. Black, the way that you can overcome depression, I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but you know, it is what it is. The way you can overcome depression, you have to face the very thing that caused it. You have to face the root of it. Why did I change? What took me out of the norm? What happened to me? And what I mean, King and Queens, what is, Jason, can I have some of your time? How I let you? Great, awesome, Jason. What trauma happened to you? What was so serious and meant so much to you that affected you so hard that it changed your life? I think abandonment. Come on, lettuce, tomato. Thank you, love, for being a fan. Thomas Lee, Black. Yeah, that definitely could be a reason why we fall into depression, you know? What does depression mean? So let's start with that to see if we can get these answers on what is the trauma that caused this depression. Depression is a feeling of severe death of my father. Come on, King. Depression means severe feelings of severe unhappiness and low despondency. Just been on autopilot. Come on, Black. If we can be transparent, we're just going through the motions. Come on, Black. We have went through the trauma that has changed the norm, and now we are on cruise control. We are just going through the motions, going to the storms with Black glasses. Come on, Black. Let's be real with it. If we can be transparent, Big Money, we have experienced this traumatic thing, and because we experienced it, now we're just living. We're not living to live, but we're just living. Who am I talking to? I need you. Hey, love. Welcome forward, King. I hope you're having a fantastic morning so far. Do you guys see that? Right? Talk to me. Come on. My life before the trauma. See, this is why we're so upset. Before the trauma. Come on, lettuce, tomato. Before the trauma, we was living life. We was living life to live. Come on now. We was taking advantage of the greatest possession that we have in existence, and that is life itself. Then the trauma happened. And when the trauma happened, now we're in a place that we're on autopilot. Now we are just living. Before we was living to live, but now because of what has happened to me, now I'm just living. Every day is another day. I wake up, go to work. I wake up, eat, go to work, work, eat, clock in, clock out, go home. Lay down, go to sleep, and I am living. You know, it's an autopilot. It's automatic. I am not living my life, but I'm just living. Yeah, breathing with a suit of armor on. The Alpha and Omega. Hey, love. Hey, Joe. John Sosa. Welcome. Panky. Because depression is a feeling of severe unhappiness. Depression is a feeling of low despondency. What's despondency? Despondency is a state of low spirits caused by the loss of hope. Oh, we're going to get a little bit deep there. Robotic syndrome. Come on, dark side. Hey, Chris. Dolores. That's what despondency is. Despondency is a state of low spirits caused by the loss of hope. Something so traumatic happened to me, I don't have hope anymore. So my question to you, King and Queens, who made you feel hopeless? Who took the hope that you had in your life for yourself? Who took the hope that you had in the promises that was spoken over you? O'Shea, Shalom King, welcome forward, love. Who robbed the hope from me? I think it was me. Well, come on, Black. We can't get a problem child. Hey, love, we cannot get more transparent than this. That's real. That part. Because when we break down this thing, depression, it really is going to get into who's responsible? That part. Once we recognize the trauma and we face it head on, next we gotta, who's responsible? Who's responsible to let it in? Who was responsible to give it the power over my life? Who is responsible? And always we have to take accountability of our piece of the power. And that's what Black is talking about. I think it was me. You know, it can only come in if we invite it. We want to point fingers. You did that to me. This is a toxic relationship. You should have never. You would have never. This and that. But you know what? Depression, come on, King. Depression was able to sink in because we accepted the invitation. We have accepted the invitation. So we got to take accountability for it. But I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but Black Swan, she's on it. Pop, hey, love. So if despondency is a state of feeling of having low spirits caused by the loss of hope, somewhere along the lines. I appreciate you so much. You don't know. Come on, Black. Oh, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna kill this thing. Bigo won't let me put "kill depression" because that was the title that I wanted to put. Because we gonna kill this thing. We gonna string it up. We gonna burn it, drown it, shoot it. I don't know. Whatever we're gonna do, we're gonna do that to depression. We're gonna take it out. By the end of this, you're going to have the tools to take it out. Keep it up, Queen. Yes, yes, King. Black Sheep. Hey, love. Not welcome forward. 3499. Hey, love. Yes, Jason. That's right. You got the power over your life. You better talk that. Hey, Cassie. Casey. Hey, Marie. Hey, love. Welcome, gorgeous. Okay, so despondency is a state of low spirits caused by the loss of hope. We're getting our hope back. By the end of this, yes, love, have a beautiful day. Lolo, by the end of this live, you will have your hope back. I didn't say that you're going to have it all together because it's not easy to come out. Q, Grand Rising King, Lightning. You will not, you will have the tools to help you get out, but depression it's not that easy. I'm speaking from experience. It's not that easy because we got to start rebuilding stuff. And when you rebuild stuff, it takes some time. Yay, Q. Hey, love. Okay, so let's keep going. So we know that depression is a feeling of severe unhappiness and despondency. And despondency means low spirits caused by the loss of hope. All right. Lena, hey, love. 9693. So, are we depressed? Let's talk about what it is first. When we're in depression, we said when we're in severe unhappiness, when we have this despondency, low spirits caused by the loss of hope, how can you recognize that it's there? Well, when we deal with depression, we find things to numb life. We find things to numb life. I can't deal with it. I want to forget about it. That part. The trauma that happened to me was so bad and so real. I don't want to deal with it. It hurts so much. I don't want to deal with it. I'm going to find things to numb that feeling. I don't want to live. I don't want to just live life because it's going to remind me of reality, but I need to find things to help me forget reality. That's what depression does. Come on, dark side. So you can hide that feeling. What are you doing, King and Queens? Are you taking something and doing something so you do not have to feel? Because the reason why I didn't recognize I was in depression was because I was never clearly told and taught what depression is. So I just took depression of what depression is off of movies. And ever since I was a child, if you asked me what depression was, I was going to tell you, come on, lettuce, tomato, love supreme. Hey, love. Welcome, welcome. Grand Rising to you, love. Music, hey, love. So if you asked me what depression was, I would tell you it is you sitting on a couch crying and your tears are falling into a tub of ice cream watching sad romance movies. Music, Grand Rising, love. Grand Rising, beautiful. Do you guys feel me? Do you feel what I'm saying? All I knew was depression was a woman. I'm gonna be real with you. Well, depression, in my mind, because of what I was taught, it wasn't even a man, because a man can't cry and blah blah blah. But I was taught, Lolo, thank you for the taps. I was taught that it's a woman sitting on a couch with a tub of ice cream, stuffing her face, tears falling in the ice cream bucket, watching love stories. sad romance movies. That's what I thought it was. So I'm going to be a little bit more real with you. I associated depression with sadness. Okay, let's move on. The next thing I associated depression with was crying all the time. DJ Undisputed, hey love, hey Adam. So when depression came in my life and I felt like I was living my best life, I didn't even recognize that I was in depression when I was. How can I be in depression when I'm living my best life? My best life could be popping bottles every weekend and drinking all the time. My best life could be doing drugs because it makes me feel good. Anything that makes me feel good, but an instant gratification. That was the bomb right there. Go ahead. Right, Dark Side. Depression is anything that makes you feel good with instant gratification for a moment. So the very thing that makes you feel good for a moment, you got to keep doing over and over and over again so you can keep feeling good, because guess what? Your life doesn't. You got to keep using and doing the very things that numb your life. Come on, Raquel. So you don't live. Let's keep going. I didn't recognize I was in depression because I was living my best life, and people have always sunshine. They love. People have Oski. People have always. I was taught that depression had to do with crying. I was taught that depression had to do with sadness. So if I wasn't feeling sad, I wasn't depressed. We look for this instant gratification so that we are living a life of numbing, so we can do everything but live. We don't want to live life in reality, so we find instant gratifications to forget it. And that's what depression is. We recognize depression because we don't really want to live our life. Our life isn't good enough. It doesn't feel good. I'm going to find something that does. Oh, do you hear me, King and Queens? I'm going to find something that makes me feel good because my life doesn't. That's where depression sneaks in. Depression sneaks in when we're looking for a way out. Life is too hard. Life is too much. It's too painful. The things that I'm dealing with is too hard. That's when depression sneaks in to say, well, why don't you do this so you can forget about what you have to deal with? Why don't you do this? Come on, Antonio. Why don't you do this so you don't have to handle it? You don't want to feel that pain no more, King? Why don't you drink a little? Oh, Queen, you don't want to feel that pain no more? Why don't you dream? Because your dreams feel better than the reality. Oh, why sleeping too much? Let's talk about it. What is depression? We're not going to live this lie that tells us that depression is only someone sad and crying all the time, which caught me up. No, now I see the red flags. Now I know when stuff starts coming out of the norm. Now I know when I start gravitating to things that make me not live my real life. That's what I'm talking about. Because we can believe, like I did, I was living my best life because I was feeling good. But we wasn't called to live this life in moments of feeling good. Come on, King and Queen, you deserve more than that. You wasn't called to live this life of moments of feeling good. We talked about that before. You was called to live in happiness, not just to be happy sometimes. So we find things because it's not good enough. What does depression look like? Let's talk about this. And if I miss something, I want you guys to let me know. You guys know I love when you guys comment and things like that. Grand Rising, welcome forward. What does depression look like? The first one is sadness. Crying all the time. Don't feel good. Low frequency. Okay. That's the one we know. Ken! Hey, love. Oh, I love all your mercy. Cancer Gang. Hey. Yes, let's be real. Come on, Dragon. Let's get into it. One of the ways that you could deal with depression looks like sadness, crying all the time, low frequency. Depression looks like anger. So sadness, the next thing that when we deal with depression is loss of interest or pleasure in things. That's depression. What you mean? Oh, you're welcome, love. What you mean? What do you mean loss of interest? The pleasure in something. And things that you used to love, you don't love them no more. The things that you used to enjoy, you don't even enjoy doing them anymore. You're finding yourself, Asha, hey love, you tired of, you love to hear you, God is good. Yes, the Most High is amazing. Yes, Antonio. That's true. The things that you love, you don't do anymore. You start finding yourself, being gravitated towards things. Yes, my beautiful queen. You start finding yourself gravitating to things that you never even did before. Gravitating to things you used to do when you was in that low frequency. Gravitating to things that you grew out of. Ooh, right? Candy, when you start going to the club again, girl? You haven't been to the club since you were 21. Girl, you 38. Come on, Sunflower. Oh, Candy, when you start drinking? Man, I haven't seen you have a glass in your hand for 10 years. And this one is for me, because this is when I was in depression and didn't know it. Candy, when you start eating cheese again? You've been vegan for 9 years. Oh, what happened? Misunderstood. We are trying to, we are identifying what depression is. The different faces. Come on, True. Kingly, hey, love. We're identifying the different faces of depression. One face is feeling sad all the time. Being in a place you always feeling sad. The next thing is you have trouble sleeping, or you sleep all the time. This is a deep one, because people just think, oh, well, I'm just tired. No, baby, you're not tired. You're tired of life. That part. It's not that you're tired because you've been doing too much. My love, you are tired from life. Hey, Taylor. Hey, love. Louis, Dominique, thank you, love. Hey, Art. Oh, I know that's hard for some people. Sleeping is better than living. Yeah, but I'm doing a lot and this and that. Whoa, you was doing the same thing 6 months ago, and you wasn't sleeping like this. You had the same job, the same kids. Ain't no new kids pop up. Nothing like that. Same school. Same work, same bills. And you was doing it 6 months ago, but now you're just so tired. It's too much for you. So it comes to a point that when the depression pulls you into dreams and fantasizing, and a life of forgetting is better than the life of living in reality. Yes, Antonio. So sleeping is better than living. There you go. Depression looks like trouble sleeping or sleeping too much. Your mind is overwhelmed with thoughts and feelings and things that you're going through, that it's hard to sleep. You don't get enough sleep anymore. That could be a depression face also. Another face of depression is sleeping too much. Again, sleeping is better than life. My sister had told her testimony about that. She said, I was in a state that I was sleeping all the time, and I didn't even know I was in depression. Because we're taught things. Come on, Taylor. Because we're taught things, and we're not told the true story, the full story. Why? Because they don't want us to have access to the power that we carry on the inside. Why? Because if we access that power, then we are a threat. And I'm just being real. Dominique, thank you, love. Yay, closer to my goal 4 stars. You guys are awesome. I love you, King of Queens. Thank you so much for that, Dominique. March, it's real. H King, that's what it is. Why was we never told about depression? Think about it, King and Queens. Why were we never taught self-love since the beginning, since we were born? Why wasn't we taught self-love? Why wasn't our parents taught self-love? Dream, thank you, love. Why didn't that happen? Thank you, gorgeous. Why wasn't we taught self-love when we was a children? Why wasn't our parents taught self-love? Why wasn't this created over generations? Why wasn't we taught what depression was? Why didn't our parents teach us? Why didn't their parents teach us? Because it never was something that was created to be taught. Why? Because if we teach truth, then we can hold power. And the truth is what powers us, okay? So that we have access to the very thing that we already possess. And the reason why we didn't use it before, we didn't feel it before, because it's been dormant, because somebody has been lying to us. You know, a lie is also if you just don't tell the whole truth, half truths. Do we know that, king and queen? Lies are half truths. You voluntarily leave out information. And that's what this world has done to us. It has voluntarily left out information so we do not have access to all the power that we possess. You know, because if you have access to the power that you possess and you actually know who you are, then you're a threat, king. In this world of control, if you have access to that power and you know who you are, queen, you're a threat. And that's why this was the way it is. And that's why we haven't been taught these things. But let's keep going. One of the faces of depression is being sad. Low despondency, low spirits caused by the loss of hope or courage. Come on, Antonio. The next thing we're talking about, being sad, crying, things like that. The loss of interest or pleasure in things you once loved. We start going back on things that we used to experience that we do not tap into no more. It's no longer on our frequency. Since our frequency is low, we can match it again. Did y'all hear me? That's what happens with depression. When depression sneaks in, our frequency is here and it starts going like this. So once we hit that bottom level, we start gravitating to what we used to deal with, what we used to mess with, what we knew before. We're going back to the demons that we killed. We're resurrecting the demons that we slain. Oh, whew, I felt that one. Because that's what I sure enough did. The demons I took all my power, energy, and love to kill, I resurrected those joints when I was in depression. My frequency was so low I could hear them speaking. Oh. My frequencies dropped so low in the position I was in my life that I could hear the demons that I slain speaking. And I went right back in bed with them. And I don't mean literally. I mean whatever it is. Whether it was clubbing all the time, alcohol, drugs, whatever it was, you know, it starts speaking to you again because your life isn't good enough again. So you start tapping into the things that you don't love anymore because you know that don't deserve. And you start tapping into the things that you don't deserve again. Oh, that's what depression does. Come on, Black. Come on, Alex. The next face of depression, like I said, loss of interest and pleasure in the things you once loved. Another face of depression is a change of appetite. And that's the one that got me. That was the face that got me. Change of appetite. Either you're eating too much or you're not eating enough. Mr. Awesome. Hey, love. Welcome forward, goddess. Hey, love. Yay. Grand rising to you, loves. I said, woman of God, you better speak. Come on now. And that's what got me. My diet. Depression. attacked. Got it. Hey, love. Chico. Grand Rising, Mr. Awesome. Yes, Goddess. So nice to see you, love. Hope you've been having a fantastic and wonderful morning. All right, so we're talking about the faces of depression, okay? We said one is sadness, despondency, crying all the time, feeling bad for yourself, feeling bad for others. The next thing is going to be the loss of interest and pleasure in the things that you once loved. The next phase of depression is going to be a change in appetite, and that's the one that got me. You either eat too much or you do not eat enough. Okay, so we're talking about the phases of depression. One is feeling sad. The next one is loss of interest and pleasure in the things that you once loved. The next thing is a change of appetite. Loss or losing too much weight or gaining too much weight. Eating too much or not eating enough. I love you. And that's the one that got me. And I'm gonna take a little short time to tell my testimony of my depression, but we're gonna get through this. The next thing is what we talked about before. Trouble sleeping or you sleeping too much. All these things I'm stating are things that we find ourselves doing because it numbs life. It helps us to forget reality. Hey, Oz, you tried it. Welcome back, love. And those are all the faces of depression. And if you have another suggestion, please put it in the comments, King and Queen, that you have dealt with that I did not mention about depression. You know, these emotions that we have, anger, jealousy, those things are also parts of depression. Because we're already in low spirits, we gravitate more to our negative feelings than we do to our positive one. Yes, anxiety. I'm not good enough. What's going to happen? Always worrying. Come on. I'm depressed because the thing that I dealt with, the trauma that got me here might happen again. So we live in anxiety because of depression. Come on, that's right. Anxiety that we don't want to do anything again because we're depressed, so we don't want to, because of the trauma that we dealt with, and we don't want that trauma to happen to us again. So in all that we do, we have anxiety over and over because we don't want to fall back into the trap. We don't want it to happen to us again, right? So I'm going to tell you something, King and Queens, and I'm going to get into my thing just a little bit. I know that you guys had heard this story before. So I was at a point in my life that I did not recognize I was in depression because I felt like I was living my best life. And one thing that you have to always have, like I stated in the beginning, is we have to be in a place to have that self-evaluation. Thank you, Shy. Thank you, love. The self-evaluation will help us recognize, are we living the life we should be living? Are we living something we're not? Has something altered the norm? Has this trauma changed how we're supposed to live on the path to our destiny, and on the path to make these promises that were spoken over our life manifested? What has changed? What has switched? We have to have a self-evaluation because we have that self-love on the inside to say, is this where I'm supposed to be? Am I doing the right thing? Etc., etc. When we constantly have this self-evaluation, then we're able to kill depression at the root early. That's why I'm bringing this up. Now, if I would have noticed that my eating habits were changing, and why, not just the surface thing, because that's where depression gets you. I decided to change my eating habits because I felt like I was living my best life. And that's what depression does. Oh, get your life. Hey, love. Welcome forward, Queen. Nice to see you, love. Thank you so much, Shy. I appreciate you. Mr. Exercise. Hey, love. Ariane. I think I said it So I just started eating different because, I want to feel good. That was my excuse. That was a surface excuse, and that's where depression snuck in for me. You know what? I won't even say that. I'm gonna switch this up, and I just came to a new revelation with that. That's not where depression snuck in. It was there, so that was the consequences that it caused. Oh. My depression was there, which got me to a point to start reaching for the things that are numbing life, and that was me eating. I love the way food makes me feel. It makes me feel good. So I gravitated towards the thing that made me feel good. When depression has sunk in, we start gravitating towards the things that help us numb life. And if we're doing self-evaluation, we're going to check ourselves and say, wait. The last time you drank candy was 5 years ago. Why do you want to drink now? What has changed? We're gonna be quick to figure out, why is the norm being altered? What happened? And if I was able to do it, if I was able to self-evaluate before correctly, I would have never took the excuse of living my best life as the reason why I'm changing my standard and my health, my standard of health. No, I would have never took it if I really had some deep self-evaluation when I first started changing my eating habits. I wouldn't allowed myself, I would have loved myself more to not accept the excuse that it just makes me feel good. Right. I wouldn't have accepted Get Your Life. I wouldn't have accepted that surface answer. I would have said, oh, no, hold on. What you mean it makes you feel good? Well, drugs makes you feel good too, so you're gonna do it? Well, they said the best feeling is when you hit an overdose. You're gonna do that too? And if I would have heard myself, well, I'm changing my eating habits because, I want to live my best life. So your life isn't good enough without you doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. Candy. Replacements. Come on, Shy. And I would have got on myself like, what you mean? Because I'm living my best life, so without you eating trash and garbage that's not good for you, you're not living your best life. So how was you living your best life for the last 10 years? How was you living your best life for the last 9 years, and now all of a sudden your best life is dependent on something that's doing you harm? Come on. If I really put the light on in the interrogation room under Candy when I started changing my norm, then I would have recognized that I was in depression and would have been able to kill her at the root. But no. I decided to take the surface thing. Why? Because I was living surface. And I don't mean living surface. My frequency was on the surface at that time, and I didn't recognize it. That's why I allowed that excuse. Hey, Rose. But when I'm not in a place and I have a high frequency and I'm not living surface because I know who I am and I know what has been promised for me and I know who's on my side, the Most High. When I understand all that, you can't give me no surface answers because I'm not a surface queen. I don't know who I'm talking to. You can't give me no surface answers because I ain't a surface king. What you mean you're eating this stuff that brings cancer into your body? Why are you eating it? Because you're living your best life. You won't have a life, Candy. What are you doing? Oh, maybe it's just, come on, Unraveler. Maybe it's just me, but I don't know. I chose to take surface because my frequency was lowered because depression already sunk in. So depression wasn't me eating wrong. It was the effects of the depression, the cause and effect. Because I was depressed, I was eating wrong. Come on, Rose. Yo, Steak. Hey, love. Welcome forward. So I'm gonna tell you something deep. I didn't recognize I was in depression. Uncle, hey love, Virgo. I'm gonna tell you guys something deep. Some of you heard it, some of you didn't. But I know I didn't get into detail because I usually really get into detail only when I'm speaking of depression itself. So it wasn't until 4 years later that I even recognized that I was in depression 2 years before that. Candy, you was in depression 2 years before that, and you didn't even know till 4 years later. Nope. So what happened was somebody said to me, and they said, Candy, you know, I started talking about in my job that I lost all this weight. You know, at one period in my life, 2 years ago, I had lost 95 pounds. And the woman was like, oh my God, that's amazing. How did you do? I said, yeah, I lost 95 pounds in 4 months. And they was like, oh, that's amazing. What did you do? I was like, diet, exercising, eating organic, eating right, this and that, blah, 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 and all this. So she walks away. And a coworker that I was with for a long time, that knew me for a long time, I went from 257 pounds to 172 pounds, right, in 4 months. So she says to me, now, Candy, what made you gain all that weight in the first place? I said, nothing. I said, I was just going, eating, you know, traveling and stuff. And she was like, was you depressed? And I said, no. Man, King and Queens, I could have tell you, I could have sworn my life that I was never depressed. I said, no. Because I told you what I thought depression was. I thought depression had to deal with someone crying all the time and being sad. Right? I said no. Or someone that doesn't like their life, right? No. I was good. I was living my best life. I was traveling here and there. I counted. I traveled 18 destinations that year. I'm a huge traveler. Definitely before Corona. Traveling all the time. All the time, always on vacation. And I was like, yeah, I was eating at different restaurants, this and that, blah, blah, blah. I was like, man, that year was lit. So she was like, something happened to you in order for you to change. She told me this, and I know it was the Most High, because this girl has been working with me for years and never said nothing. But the Most High decided and said, today's the day that my daughter needs to know the truth. And today's the day that she's mature enough to hear it. Don't demand and don't try to strong arm God and his information of knowledge for you. Don't do it. Don't try to strong arm him to give you information that you're not ready for. So he decided, I'm going to use her, and today's the day for Candy to know the truth. So she said to me, she said, you know, yeah, but something happened to you in order for you to gain 95 pounds. Lucky, you are so awesome. Hey, love. And she said, what happened to you traumatic that year before you started gaining weight? Right when you started gaining weight, what happened to you? I said, nothing. She said, something traumatic had to happen. What bad can you think happened? And I was thinking. I'm like, well, I got divorced that year. And she said, yep, that's it. You see, you got divorced and then you started eating. And I said, no. I said, I got divorced that year. I said, everything was mutual. There wasn't no drama, stress or nothing like that. Everything was easy. It wasn't nothing crazy. So she was like, okay. So she was like, then it has to be something else. What else can you think of that happened to you that was really bad, or you feel like? And I was thinking, and I said, you know, well, that was when my church broke up. That was when I recognized that 8 years of my life, I was living in a cult system, following a leader who said that they heard from God when they always and only was out for self. A church of 350 people broke up. Church members lost their homes because of the crooked things that was going on and taking money from them and foreclosure. It was really bad. It was horrible. And a lot of them looked to me for help and support. And I supported and helped as much of them as I could. And I prayed and I helped physically, helped mentally, helped spiritually, helped emotionally. And I felt for those families. And my people, I knew them for 8 years, So once she said that, I started feeling the pain from it. You know how deep that is? 4 years later, I'm feeling the pain from a trauma that I went through that I didn't even know I had pain from. That's how sneaky depression is. So what did I do? As soon as she finished saying that to me, I said, oh, okay, that's it. And then she said, yeah. And I walked, come on, miss. I walked into my office and I sat down and I began to weep. I began to cry. Because all the pain from what happened to me started coming up. It was being resurrected again, because I had it dead for a while, but it wasn't killed. It was still there waiting to be released. And I started crying and I'm like, wow, I never forgave her, that crazy leader, for what she did to those people, to my people, to me, to my family, to the reason why my marriage was the way it was, which we recognize now. A lot of stuff which was crazy, I never faced it. I dealt with it, but I never faced it. I can't even say I dealt with it. It happened to me, but I never faced it. I never faced it to deal with it, to move on. So we're talking about overcoming depression. The first thing I'm going to talk about, King and Queens, number one, for us to overcome depression is recognize the trauma. Stand face to face with your trauma. Look and feel every single detail. If you got to relive that thing, King and Queens, you relive that thing. And whatever it takes to do it, you do it. But Candy, it makes me feel like it's happening all over again. Honey, I know. That was me. I had to see it for what it was, dissect every piece of it, make sure that I had an emotion for everything I felt. You ain't saying nothing new to me. Get your life. You ain't saying nothing new like I don't know. It sure does. And that was the reason why I didn't want to feel it for 4 years. Let's not talk about this like it's a light, and let's not talk about it like it's easy. There ain't nothing easy about facing our traumas. It ain't nothing easy about us reliving the pain, the greatest pain that we have felt in our life all over again. Let's not act like this is bunny, rainbows, peaches and cream, ice cream and whatever. No, let's be real. Because we can't get it together unless we're real. Thank you, Sports Freak. The only way you can release the pain is if you face it first. And that is the hardest and biggest step. Get your life. It's facing the pain, reliving what happened, because we got to put everything out on the table in order to clear it off. And that's what it is. We got to put everything on the table in order to clear it off. We can't fix what we don't face. Yeah, we can't fix what we don't see. It's like bringing a car to the auto body shop, but then when it's your appointment, you show up, but your car's at home. Oh, I don't know who that was for, but that's what it is. Showing up to the car dealership, telling them that we got all types of issues with our car. It's not starting. It's not doing what it's supposed to do and all this. But we left the car at home but showed up for the appointment. That's what we do when we just living. Right, that part. Out of sight, out of mind. But we got to make our sight clear. And the pain, it hurts, and it really hurts. It hurts, like I just said, like you're living it all over again, but you got to put it all out on the table in order to clear it. So I had to face and deal with every single thing I felt and that pain of what I went through. And then the Most High spoke to me. Petty, hey love. He said, forgive. And I had to look at all these pieces on the table of the trauma that I went through, and piece by piece forgave the people, and piece by piece forgave myself. It's something about it because, you know, that one person caused all this hurt and pain in my life, in other people I love's life. And it was easy for me to point the finger, but I never was able to get over it because I never forgave. But yet that person is in a place of what? Living their best life. You know what I mean? Living their best life while I'm here struggling with depression. We have to come to a place. Thank you, Petty, Nay, Lion King, Sisma T. We have to come to a place to forgive the one who caused the trauma. And what does that look like? That could be a person or it could be us. But the next thing we have to do is forgive ourselves too. Because what happens is we love to forgive people, but we don't want to forgive ourselves. I'm talking to somebody. That's what we do with forgiveness. We are so quick to forgive people treating us like trash, but when we mess up, we're so hard on ourselves, we can't even move forward. Thank you. Because I was going to say, I don't know who I'm talking to, but that's for someone. Thank you, Most High. That's for somebody. We can't forgive ourselves, you know. He said forgive. I forgave her, and then I was going to move forward. He said, no, forgive yourself. I felt accountable for those people. I felt like because I believed her, I led them astray too. I felt responsible also. I felt that the pain that they felt was also caused by me because they trusted me, because I was trusting her. Who am I talking to? And we can't forget these things. We got to begin to forgive ourselves. He said, forgive you too. Take accountability that you was a part of this. And forgive yourself because you was. That it's me. I have to forgive myself. Thank you, Candy. All praises to the Most High. Get your life. Queen. All praises to the Most High. And he said that, and I began to cry even harder than I did when I first sat down. When he said, forgive you. It's not all your fault, but you are accountable of some of it. And the accountability only, hey love, welcome forward, King. The accountability that I had to feel hurt. Even if that piece of accountability was 5%, 3%. But what we do is we feel so guilty. We're so hard on ourselves. Instead of it being that 3%, we magnify it as if it's the 97. And we forgive the person that was 97%. Thank you, King. 97% a part of it. We forgive them, but our 3% that we're accountable for, we can't even forgive ourselves, let alone move forward, let alone feel like we should be in what we deserve and not what we're not deserving of. Do you hear me? That's what we do. You know why? But Candy, why do we do that? Why do we forgive people more than we forgive ourselves? Because we love people more than we love ourselves. That's why. You're spending time trying to, thank you, love, one and only, thank you for sharing. You spend time over and over trying to figure it out. It ain't that hard, love. The reason why we forgive people more than we do ourselves is because we love people more than we love ourselves. That's why. We feel like they're more deserving of being forgiven than we are. When we all human and the same, and we all make mistakes. That's the way he made us. It's not, come on, Point of View. It's not that hard when you think about it, and it's real. Come on, they were 97% responsible for the trauma you felt. You was 3% responsible. And you forgive the 97%, but you don't forgive your 3%. And that 3% that you don't forgive affects your whole life. That you can't grow, you can't move forward. Your frequency is CeeLo. Honey, CEO, hey love. Kalina, hey love. You can't move forward, you can't grow, you stuck. Just because of the 3% you're not forgiving yourself for, but the person that was almost solely responsible for is living their best life because you forgiving them. And honestly, they didn't even think twice about what they did, so they just living anyway. But it's on your mind. And we allow depression to come in because of our 3%. OJ, come on now. Tears are healing. That's what we got to remember. That's one thing that now we're getting back to again. The things that this world has lied to us about so we cannot access our power. And one of the major lies, which is self-love and what depression is. And another thing is tears. This world has lied to us that tears is a shame. Tears are something that shouldn't be seen. Tears shouldn't happen. But in reality, the word says, the Most High says in his word, he interprets every tear. If it's not something we're not supposed to doing, one, he wouldn't make us do it. We wouldn't be able to. Two, he wouldn't say that he understands every single tear that falls from your eyes. Yes, it's a release. And what that means, Queen, is that there is a lot that you need released. That's all it is. And it's coming and coming because reality is sinking in. And that's what happened to me, that, you know what? Someone loves me. And I knew it already. But he continues to fathom me. Orleans, hey love, welcome forward. Grand rising to you. He continues to fathom me on his love for me, you know? And when you start getting all this revelation, Flip, hey love. When you start getting all this revelation, it starts getting overwhelming. Thank you, King. It starts getting overwhelming because you're like, you love me that much to help me out of this. You love me that much to have me correct something from 4 years ago. You love me that much to make me be better. So we got to be in a place to forgive. As we forgive, in order for us to forgive, we got to hold ourselves accountable, you know, to see who's responsible, face the trauma, find out what you are accountable for, forgive them, and forgive yourself. Okay, what's next, Candy? The next thing is, once I did that, I felt some type of release from it. But I'm going to say this as many times as I can. Depression is a process to get out of. It's not that easy. Right? You know, because the next feeling I did was I got upset. I got real upset when I recognized that I was in depression. And after I forgave who I forgave, I had this feeling of really being upset with myself. And that's why I had to forgive myself. I was upset because I let it in. I was upset that everything that I stood for and worked so hard for those last 9 years prior to those 4 years of eating right, organic, teaching people, saving lives. Before our face goes, just something and everything this morning. Speak my faith. Yes, it will, love. Continue to believe and move as it's already done, because faith is an action word, Orleans, and it will happen for you. OP, hey, love. So listen, so I was upset because everything, depression in the matter of a month changed what I stood for in 9 years. Now, I really started breaking it down to detail. 9 years of my life exercising and eating right and promoting health was gone. Depression was able to remove in a month of what I worked so hard for 9 years. And that started to get me upset to say, like, I saved people's lives. And what I mean by that, D, thank you, love. What I mean by that is, there's people that watched my life and changed how they ate. People that had high blood pressure, diabetes, and they don't got it. They didn't have it no more. So I've saved people's lives just by the life that I live. And what came out of my mouth and what I did by my action. And how could the very thing that I did and lived and stood for that saved people's lives, I couldn't even stand when depression came in for myself? Ooh, that was too real for me. That really hurt me. That hurt. I was real angry with myself. Like, how could you allow this to happen, Candy? And I want to tell you guys something. Because a lot of people will say, well, you lost the weight, Candy, so didn't you get out of depression? That's how you lost the 95 pounds. I said, no. The reason why I lost the weight was because I seen a picture of myself and I didn't like how I looked and how I would look to other people. And that's why I went back to being organic and back to what I knew that would help me lose weight. But not because I wanted to live a long life and that more abundantly, which is the reason why I lived the way I lived for those 9 years. At that time, I would have changed because I know who I am and I love who I am. So that got me upset, but I had to learn to forgive myself. Honestly, I didn't get upset at me. I really got upset at depression. And I said and I swore to myself, Candy, you're going to do every single thing in your power. You're going to do every single thing in your power to not let depression sneak in again. The next time you have a trauma, you are going to feel what you need to feel. You're not going to be strong and move forward and keep pressing. No, you're going to stop, look at what you're dealing with, feel what you're dealing with, even as hard as the pain is. You're going to forgive, take accountability for what you did, and you're going to move forward. So the next thing I asked the Most High, okay, what is next? After I forgave myself, took accountability and all that, he said, move forward. That's what he said to me. He said, move forward. That's the last step, King and Queens. To overcoming depression, move forward. And when I got to that point where he told me that last point and said, move forward, I'm talking to you, King and Queens. I didn't feel like I was out of depression at that time. I had things to work on. I lived the last 4 years thinking I was okay. Now a building came down on me. Bricks came down on me. Of feeling like, oh my God, I was in depression and I didn't know it. I haven't been healed from that depression in all this time. You know, then I start feeling low again. That's what happened. The depression was resurrected because it was never killed. It was resurrected because it was dormant and I didn't recognize it. Now that I saw it for what it was, I did those 3 things. Did you ever talk to someone about depression? I was in a state of mourning for about a year, healing. Yes, it was a huge chance that I have other people. I think God did that. Yeah, that could be true. I mean, yeah, all things are in his hand. Now I'm moving forward. Yes, there's stages, right, Unraveler? Duffy, that's right, Harold. Did you ever, Kenyatta, I never talked to anyone about depression. This depression I'm speaking of, the Most High has given me these steps to get out of it, which I'm teaching you guys. Have I spoken to people about me, my emotions? Have I had a therapist before, a counselor? Yes, I had therapy before. Therapy is excellent. If you have never experienced therapy, please, if your insurance has it, I don't care if you're living your best life and you really are not in depression or nothing and everything's happy, it's still excellent to have a therapist. It's good to talk to somebody, release emotions, and someone that can help you. But these steps and everything came from the Most High, who is my favorite therapist. But in real life, it is good. They don't want us to know that therapy is good because then we're going to access our power. I said that before. They want us to view crying as weak, therapy as weak, you know, and all this stuff, but it's not true. Anything that will bring a release benefits us. FDR, hey love, hey legend. Okay, so he said move forward. And at this point in my life, now that I recognized I was in depression, forgave what I forgave, or put everything back on the table, faced my trauma again, I was feeling the same horrible way that I was feeling 4 years ago. I'm going to be real with you. Because people are like, did it work? Did it happen? This is not, it doesn't do that. Did you just listen to Unraveler? It's not that easy. It's not so fast. There's a process because it's a lot of feelings to get through. There's a lot of pain to push through. And now I'm sitting in the chair feeling like I felt 4 years ago after I did what I did. And now he's telling me to move forward. I'm like, you should have told me to move forward before I brought all this trash back up and this trauma. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? Let's be real. That's how I felt. Let's not be so spiritual with no earthly good. I'm to be, yeah, exactly. Come on, Unraveler. I'm to be real. I'm saying to myself, man, Lord, Most High, why'd you just make me resurrect all this stuff that I was feeling that I had dormant? Why don't you tell me to move forward while I was dormant? Because I never really would be moving forward. That's why. When we choose not to face it, it's baggage that we have on us, and we can't get to our destiny as fast as we should. Well, I always feel like I do something right and it feels like something's holding me back. Come on, Unraveler. Or every time I'm listening and I'm moving and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, I take 4 steps forward and it feels like I'm taking 10 steps back. It's because there's things that we haven't cleared. There's things that we haven't gotten rid of and let go of. And that's what the depression does. It hangs on our back like a monkey on our back that we choose to ignore. So now he said move forward, and I said in my head, like, dang, it would have been easier for me to move forward before facing this trauma. But you know what? I said, I'm going to trust you, Most High. And I said, how can I move forward now when I don't feel like anything? Ooh. How can I move forward now when I don't even see my value because I was so stupid to let depression in and crash down and knock down 4 years, 9 years of a foundation of health just because I didn't feel like crying or addressing what I went through? I don't know who I'm talking to. This is what I was feeling. How can I move forward when I don't even feel good about myself because I was so stupid to let depression in and change what I built for 9 years? I'm talking this, I'm just being real. Let's just be real. And I'm not pretending. Listen, in vulnerability, there's strength. Hiding vulnerability shows weakness. Ooh, like there goes another lie they said to us. Being vulnerable is weak. That's such a lie. Because if I could go to somebody and be vulnerable and tell you all my weaknesses and be strong enough to deal with whether you mistreat them or not, I'm talking to somebody. Lean not to your own understanding. You better go ahead and unravel it. Vulnerability is strength. Because if I could go up to somebody and show them all my weaknesses and be strong enough to deal with them trying to mistreat them, but I tell them what I'm vulnerable about to really see who they are, to test the quality that I deserve, to see if this is a relationship I should have. You guys understanding what I'm saying? If you understand what I mean about vulnerability, hit a 1. Put a 1 in the comments. And if you have that 1 in the comments, then I can move forward. If you guys understand what I mean with vulnerability is strength, I want you to put a 1 in the comments. That way I can move forward. Okay, thank you, love. Yes, okay. So that's what I mean. So we become, Antonio, okay, yes, love. So we become vulnerable. Vulnerability is strength. Because we're able to do it. It makes us stronger. All right. So he said to me, move forward. And I said, all that stuff was going, the emotions I had with me. I didn't feel like nothing anymore. Before that, I felt like something, but now I really don't feel like nothing. I'm back to where I was in depression before. So I said, I don't know what to do. He said, love yourself again. I said, love myself again. I don't feel like there's nothing to love. Can I just be real? Can we take off the glasses and the mask and all this? I'm being vulnerable with you. That's what made me talk about vulnerability before. Can we? Okay, thanks. Okay, bye, Harold. I'm gonna be real. I feel like love myself again. I feel like there's nothing to love. Then he said, begin to do the things that you love, Candy. The things that you used to love that you did by yourself, begin to do those things. And I'm giving you these answers to overcome depression because that's how I was able to. Okay, King and Queens? So now it's slipped back into one of the faces of depression because we resurrected it now, right? Because it was dormant for 4 years. So I've resurrected this depression. I'm feeling as bad as I was 4 years ago. And then one of the faces of depression came up of a loss of interest or pleasure of doing things that you love. But then the Most High is asking me to do things I love. You see that? But I don't feel like it. Let me be real. I don't feel like it. He asked me to. He told me to, and I don't feel like it. I don't feel like doing the things I used to love. But he said, do the things you used to love. And you know what? Obedience is better than sacrifice. Huh. That part. With the Most High, obedience is better than sacrifice. And I said, my love for him is what allowed me to do what I used to love. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Yeah, I had to stop. What? Come on, Unraveler. Come on, Queen. Obedience is better than sacrifice. I had to sit myself. Okay, I said, Candy, well, whether you like it or not, your father said to do it. Do you hear me? I know you don't want to, but you're going to show up and do it. Man, remember you didn't like going to practice, but your mother wanted you. Yeah, you know, I was in band practice. My mother wanted me in band practice, so I had to be there because she told me to be there. So I had to be there. I didn't want to, but I had to because she told me and directed me to be there. And the more and more I went to band practice, the more and more I realized how much I love to play the flute. Am I talking to somebody? We will find ourselves again if we listen to our Father. He's the one who loves us more than we love ourselves, so he knows the path of love. So listen to him of what he has to say and be obedient to him. And you don't even have to be obedient to yourself. But if you don't feel good and you still do it because of your obedience to him, that's what I did. I'm going to tell you straight up. I didn't want to. I didn't feel like it. All I did was have the knowledge of what I knew I used to love. I used to love hiking by myself, you know. I used to love rock climbing by myself. You know, those are things I enjoyed by myself. I enjoyed with people, but I really loved doing it by myself. And those are the things that came to mind. We have to push through. Come on now, New Orleans. Speak on it. Come on now. Come on, Unraveler. That's what we got to do. We got to press. And because obedience is better than sacrifice, I said, okay, I'm going to go hiking. I didn't feel like it. There was nothing in my bones that wanted to. There was no part of energy that I had to do it. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go. But in obedience, I went hiking. And then 2 weeks later, in obedience again, I went hiking. And I didn't like it, and I did my 2.5 hours going up this mountain and down this mountain and get back in my car, and it was like a task. I didn't like it at all. Now listen to what I had to say. Now I went rock climbing. I didn't have no thrill in it. I climbed all the way to the top, down, all this stuff, belays, everything and all that. I left there, felt like a job. The second time I had went the third time I had went hiking. Yes. Come on, Unraveler. Come on, Orleans. Come on, Dreadhead. And the love that I lost from me, it came back overwhelming. It just took me over. And everything that I loved about climbing up that mountain came back. And I recognized me loving doing it so much was just the appreciation of what he's given us. This earth, the land, the landscape. And even so much, let's get a little bit deeper, even the mountains to climb. Oh, see, that's subliminal. It's even the mountains to climb that he gave us. I recognize what I loved about it so much is the appreciation of all that he has given to us. And I found my love again. And I found my self-love. It resurrected that day and depression died. It resurrected that day and depression died. So it took me about almost 2 months to overcome depression. It wasn't a right away thing. I went through the steps. Remember, the first thing is you got to face your trauma. The second thing is that you need to take accountability for the part that you had in the trauma. Then you need to forgive. You forgive them and you forgive yourself. And that doesn't mean the depression is gone. You got to work out of it. Like Unraveler said, you got to push through. Gratitude kills depression. That is facts. And then the last thing, you got to move forward. And then you move forward, you got to start doing things that you used to love, the things that you're forgetting, that you lost interest in, the pleasure of the things that make you happy, of the things that you love. You got to start doing those things again, even if you don't feel like it, even if it doesn't feel the same anymore, do it anyway. Obedience is better than sacrifice. And that's what I did. I loved him so much. I loved him more than I loved me. I didn't even have love for myself at that time because I lost the love that I had for me. Right? And he helped me feel it again. But I didn't lose love for him. So that's why I was able to be obedient. I don't think I'm worth anything. I don't think I have any value, but I see who you are, Most High, and I've been living for you for all these years. I love you. I focused on the love that I had for him, and he's the one who pushed me through to get to the love that I have for me. Yes, Delisa. Hey, love. Hey, queen. Yes, we have to, hold on. Yes, we have to find the parts of ourselves that we lost, right? And he helped me find that. And when I went back and climbed that mountain, y'all, man, that overwhelming feeling, it just took me over. Just took me over. And every reason why I always loved to hike came back to me. And most of all, it was like Unraveler said, the gratitude of who he is in my life and what he has given. And then I recognize, when you recognize all that he has done for us, it helps us to realize how deserving we are and how valuable we are and how worthy we are. Right, Unraveler? You see? And because of my gratitude on all he has given me and looking at his creation and loving him for all he's done in my life and loving him for loving me more when I didn't love myself, all this overwhelming gratitude, it makes you recognize that you have value in order for him to give all this to you. You see that? When we recognize all he has done for us, we recognize our value because he wouldn't do all that to someone to something that doesn't have value. When we have gratitude to all he's done for us, then we recognize the value in ourselves. Do you see that, King and Queens? You see that, right? That's what we're talking about, and that's what happened, and that was how I was able to get out depression. You have spoken in my life this morning. I'm in tears because you are the second one this week saying it. Awesome. You see, that's one thing that you love. I love confirmation. I love when he brings it to you, and you just the Most High will bring it to you, Jay, and you just like, is that him talking, or you're like, maybe it's not that because it's a lot of effort, or it's something hard, like, When somebody unreveals the mountain, and you're like, wait, is the mountain there? Is that real? Am I supposed to cross it? Am I supposed to move it? Yeah, I'll just leave it there. And then he comes back through with the confirmation. Right, no, yeah. And you're just like, and you don't even think twice about it, right? But then as soon as you start walking, somebody's like, yeah, there's a mountain over there, Candy. Yeah, that one's for you. You know, like, Jay, that's how I feel. Lauren, welcome forward, Queen. That's how I feel about Revelation, that he'd be like, wait, hold on. That was for you. Like, okay. Like, you know, that's how I feel, Jay. Right. So it feels good though, because it's clear. That's why that's why I love confirmation, because it feels good, because it's clear. It's clear to me, you know, it's clear to me that I need to do this. It's clear to me what he's saying. It's clear to me what's right. What's true, what the truth is. We wouldn't be so blessed if we weren't worthy. That part. Unraveler. I've been in a severe depression for months. Today I'm deciding to get up. Man, girl, you better go ahead. You better go ahead. Why, Jay? Because you're worthy. Why? Did you hear what Unraveler said, Jay? We wouldn't be so blessed if we weren't worthy. Why? Because you know how blessed you are, Jay. Why? Because you're beginning to see your value more and more. This is not where I'm supposed to be. Oh no. I'm not supposed to be down here where depression has lowered my frequency. I see up, and I'm supposed to be up there. And whatever it takes, I'm going to do. Trust the Most High. Let him guide you, and believe and walk in faith in what he says for you to do. If I didn't love him, I wouldn't have been able to walk up that mountain the first time. If I didn't believe in him and have faith in him, I wouldn't have been able to move the first time. And for him to be able, Jay, to be speaking to you, that's how we feel. Just by him even speaking to us is speaking how much he loves us. Just by him confirming things. Well, you didn't get it the first time, honey. I'm going to make sure you get it. I love you that much to wake you up. How about that? Come on. That's how it was for me when I was ready 4 years later to handle the depression, to face it again. That's what's deep. I look at it like that, like, dang, I didn't know I was in depression until 4 years later, right? Or I didn't know I was in depression until 4 years later, and I couldn't relive that trauma until I was 4 years mature. That's how I look at it, like, wow. You know, the way he does what he does. So years later, this year, guess what? Guess who decided to peek their head back out again this year? But not even their head, probably just like a hair. I'll say a hair. You know, depression decided to peek out a little hair in Candy's life. And the reason why I say a little hair, because it almost got me again. It almost got me. I mean, almost. Do you hear me? And I'm going to tell you how. I recognize that I didn't allow myself to feel. Remember, I told depression, you ain't going to get me again. And because I was so strong about me saying you're not going to get me again, I woke myself up to, I said, girl, if you don't cry, the person that promised you some things broke those promises, and you've been giving to them for 10 years. Girl, if you don't cry and release, yeah, it was wrong that they did it to you. Yeah, you don't deserve it. Girl, Queen, if you don't cry. And I sat there and I cried. I took a moment to cry and release. So I didn't cover. So I didn't keep dormant these feelings where depression lives, where depression is born. When we start making our feelings dormant and start hiding stuff because we don't want to feel. When we come to a place to not let ourselves feel, we actually devalue ourselves. And I don't know if you heard that before, King and Queens, but it's real. I was supposed to feel because I do have value and somebody mistreated me. When we don't allow ourselves to feel, we begin to devalue ourselves. We begin to feel like we're not as worthy. And we have to remember our emotions is our energy speaking. If we silence our energy, then we silence ourselves. Remember I said, if someone can control your emotions, they can control your life. Because our emotions is our energy. And if we suppress our emotions, we're suppressing self. So that's why we have to feel in order to do it. And I almost got caught up in it. But guess what? You gotta be a little quicker than that. Honey, you gotta come a little different way to me. Now you got me before, you ain't gonna get me again. You hear me? You know, because I believe in the Most High. And the Most High say, he said that it's not gonna happen, won't gonna happen again, you know? Oh, you know? So love yourself and recognize depression when it sneaks in, because you're worth so much more than that. Giving up all you built, blood, sweat, and tears, because you fold to depression. That's not happening again. Really, really love yourself to reevaluate yourself. And when you start feeling out of sorts, when you start feeling out of the norm, you can kill it at the root, because that's where it starts. But when we ignore the feeling of not feeling the same, or we ignore the emotions that we're dealing with, that's when it starts to brew, and that's when depression grows. What? That was great, right? It was so good. We learned about depression. We recognize what it is. Unfortunately, in this thing called life, they don't teach us what depression looks like. But now that we know, we will definitely cut it at the head as soon as it peeks itself out. We will not let it sneak in again, but we will have power over it, so we can have control over our destiny and what has been promised for us. So be excited that we know what to do. Thank you guys for your time. Please subscribe to Anna Marie YouTube channel if you haven't yet. And I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I love you, love you, love you.